So welcome,
Okay.
everyone. This is a workshop on making time regenerative and joyful with Becca Rich. Becca, thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
yeah, I'll just hand it over to you now.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. So, I'm Becca. I will introduce myself in a little bit more, but thought, to do a little bit of housekeeping. My intention today is to just breathe together. So we'll take a moment to take a deep breath, maybe three, get grounded in the present moment. I'll talk for about 20-ish, 25 minutes, and then open up for any questions or just conversation and close us out. And I'm sure you will send the recording out. So to anyone rewatching this, welcome. I'm glad that you're here, no matter if you're live or not. It's okay. Um, so let's hop into the magic of the present moment. Both you and Louisa, if you want to join me, and just taking three big deep breaths. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, I'm going to close my eyes. And if you want to sit back in your seat, and we'll just take three big deep breaths together. So when you're ready, take a big deep inhale in through your nose and then let it go. Another big deep breath in and let it go. And one more biggest, deepest inhale of the day so far. And exhale, release. Just for a moment, be here. Notice what it's like to be in the present moment. Notice the mind wandering, racing, all the things around you, and feel the present in your body with your breath. When you're ready, slowly starting to come back to your body. If you want to stretch or move in any way that feels good, giving yourself some nourishment and then coming back to the space that you were in, looking around you. Thank you for taking a deep breath. Whenever I lead anything, that's like the first thing that I do is to lead a sort of gentle, not meditation, but just gentle breathing, to tap into the present moment, because that's where time is expansive. That's where time is regenerative. That's where it's joyful. And the clarity and the ease and peace that we're able to tap into when we breathe is the space that we want to shape our life around, whatever clarity comes through um, within you in that present moment. So I wanted to guide us really quickly through just a couple of deep breaths, and just whatever came up for you is okay, is welcome. Throughout this whole talk, I just want to say that, like, be human, take care of yourself. I am the teacher, but I'm not the expert. My advice is only with a grain of salt. It is your magic that is most important. So keep that in mind as I talk and share and give my experience of working with people around time. But as I'm a coach, I help people and guide people to their own magic. So that is my caveat to all of this. Um, so I'd like to introduce myself here and talk about why I care about time. Why I care about time, what makes me quote unquote like the teacher, the expert, why I've chosen to make time my life's work. And essentially, I grew up with an entrepreneur for a dad and a grandpa, and immigrant grandparents, came to the US, like hard work, worked for the US federal government, like very much ingrained in me, like my success, my achievements, my productivity is the most important thing. And without being productive, I am essentially not good enough, or you could go into venture worthless. Um, but I grew up very much like in this thing, and I went to college to study to become an engineer, and I immediately burned out, went to the hospital, and since then have started to find myself with a lot of different modalities. So by trade, I'm an engineer. I'm also a yoga teacher and a Reiki healer, and now a certified holistic coach, time management consultant. And I combine all of that stuff together to work with people on using time as a tool that is regenerative, that is joyful, that is abundant. And as much as, you know, it may seem like I appear to have it all together, like I promise as I share all of this that I'm learning and healing right alongside each and every one of you here listening the world. My superpower is just very much like the integration, applying, and the embodiment of it. I'm also a digital nomad, so with my husband. I'm currently calling in from Croatia. Um, and using my time effectively was, I think, like the most important thing that has helped me leave my engineering career that was not aligned, and really like become, you know, create a life that was important to me and meaningful and allows me to travel the world on my terms and have the relationships that I do. So that's where I'm coming from. That's my experience. And I just love combining time management with coaching because I get to really help people identify like their own vision of what they want to do with their time and discover their unique tools and skills to make that happen, that vision happen, and really just embody it, embody the playing in the possibilities of what you can do with time when it's regenerative and joyful and not just, you know, that time management kind of like heavy energy of I need to like get my life together and, you know, whatever all the misunderstandings that I'm going to be going into today with you. Um, and then the last thing, Ariana, I wanted to mention here that the whole reason for all of this is actually becoming more activism to me. So this workshop is donation based because I think that, you know, time is one of the most exploited, like under talked about exploited resource, right? Because time is our life force, and the systems that we live in don't allow a lot of people to take time off and take care of themselves. So the mutual aid that we're going to be donating to is one that I am currently in the process of starting or started. It's called Mutual PTO, and so it is going to be a mutual aid for low income workers to receive financial and mental support around paid time off so they can get time to take care of themselves and their families better. So that is my mission and vision and where we're headed with all of this.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of tea before we dive in.
Since it's a small group, maybe we should have Louisa and Christy, if you want to, introduce themselves and just briefly share why they wanted to join today.
Yeah, come on in.
Louisa's going to come back. See if you're up for it. We'd love to hear, but also you could put it in the chat or elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'll make it brief, just because, like I said, I have to close my door when I do this, and I don't want to feel inaccessible to my boss. I thought this was super important. I always feel like I don't have enough time in my life, and that I'm trying to cram as much as I can into every moment, and I don't feel like I have the time for the things that I want to do, like exercise and, you know, just relax. And I just feel like as it is, like I don't sleep very much because I'm trying to get all the things done that I need to, but yet I'm not getting to the things that I really need, like sleep and exercise. So this was a really important topic. And I agree. I feel like the way we use our time says what matters to us and what our priorities are, and and it's a choice. Like, we're making choices that, even though a lot of time we act like we're victims, we're not. We're making these active choices about our circumstances and our time. And so I thought, this is good. I need to kind of reframe and shift my paradigm a little bit. So this will be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks, Louisa. And Christy said that she can't join, or she can't talk right now, so she's listening. I wanted to share, I wanted to do this because as like a business owner, it's really hard not to always feel behind or to always feel like, you know, you're not doing enough or you need to catch up. And now that I'm like, one of my businesses is 5 years old and one of them's 2 years old, I'm kind of like, oh, that was really energizing in the beginning to have that mentality, and it made me work super hard to set things up. But now I'm like, oh, this isn't sustainable. So I'm curious about different ways to approach it.
Yeah, thank you both for sharing, and thank you for being here, Christy. Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. I think no matter, like you shared, Louisa, like what the external circumstances are, there's a way to tap in and like shift our perception around time because of how much we, you know, I'm gonna go into it, but like how we think and feel about time really impacts our ability to use it in the way that we want to. So I'm really excited to hear for both of you how important it is to feel good about your time. So important. Um, so yeah, let's dive in. How do we make time regenerative and joyful? And you already touched on it, but just recapping sort of why is it so important to make time regenerative and joyful is uh, time is how we express ourselves, how we communicate to ourselves and to the world around us who we are as people. It's the ultimate alignment and intention with our life force, right? And the sort of business term of the return on investment, the ROI of making time regenerative and joyful is a huge ripple effect. It impacts every single area of our lives. We get to be able to do the things that are deeply meaningful for us. For me, it was building my business and traveling the world, and having a solid relationship with my partner, and healing a lot of my past trauma and all of that stuff. Like that was what was deeply important to me. So a great question to ask yourself is, what are those important things to you? What do you want to be able to do with time if it was a regenerative and joyful um, resource in your life? We also get to be the people that we want to be. We get to be caring and compassionate and loving and present and at peace. And I think that those words attached with who we want to be and doing the things that we want to do, like I said, is who we are, and it impacts everything. We end each day feeling like we spent it well, and when you spend days well, you spend your life well, and what's more important than that? And I want to also say here that time isn't like some easy magical thing to figure out, even though society has told us that time management is like this hokey pop culture thing. It takes time to build a healthy relationship with time, and the urgency is suffocating. And it's a healing process because we've been so ingrained with these misunderstandings that I'm going to go into, and we have to think about time as something that we can be in relationship with and collaborate with instead of control and master and manage. Again, I'll go into that in a little bit, but I just wanted to say that if you haven't figured it all out, you are not alone, because no one has. Because time is our life. Like, has anyone perfected life? I don't think that they have. So with all this being said, like, how we think about time and how we feel about it impacts how we use it. Agree, disagree, any thoughts about that? Feel free to throw that in the comments if you'd like. And also, each of us is unique. Since time is our life, each human has unique hopes and dreams and cultural backgrounds and worldviews and traumas and privilege and identity. And so time is unique to every single person, and no fault of our own. I want to say that no matter who you are, we've all inherited some misunderstandings around time because it's ingrained in our culture, in our economy, in our school systems, in our workplaces. And so, yeah, going into these misunderstandings, I share all of these with love and take what resonates and leave the rest. I have to always say that. And yeah, I'll dive in. So, the first misunderstanding is called time scarcity, which Louisa already kind of talked about. I'm going to take a sip. So, time scarcity shows up as rushing, hurrying, impatience on a micro level, day to day level, or a macro level of, I got to figure my whole life out today. It shows up as, I never have enough time, the messaging. It shows up as, I can't believe it's already November 15th, 2022. It shows up as, time flies. And living in time scarcity, in those messages, we often talk about them, right? They're so common. We talk about them. when we call our mom or dad or parent or a friend or someone, I'm so busy, I never have enough time. And so it's like pervasive really in our culture, but time scarcity really, really truly upsets our nervous system, and that massively impacts everything. And so the opposite belief here is that time is finite, but it is not scarce. So because time is our life, of course it's finite. We're only on this in this one lifetime for the amount of time that we are here for. But it's not scarce. And what that tangibly looks like is prioritizing what's truly important to you, right? And staying in integrity with that, not overcommitting to stuff the time. That's sort of like what it looks like when you use time as a finite but not scarce resource. So that is the first misunderstanding, time scarcity. And of course, the more external circumstances, the more things that we commit to, the more choices that we make in our life to prioritize and do all of the things, the easier it can be to believe time scarcity. So the second misunderstanding is internalized capitalism. Going right for the political one. Internalized capitalism looks like money, work, success is number one, the most important thing. It also looks like there's one right way. There's one way to live life, right? in my world, grow up, go to college, get married, get a 9-to-5 job. One way. This is how you do life. And then the other one that is internalized capitalism is that there's never enough, right? And so the misunderstandings that we commonly say is time is money. I need to master or control time. If I work really hard today, then I'll be able to enjoy life in the future one day, magical one day. And then I have to do everything myself and look good doing it. Those are some of the misunderstandings that we hear or we've internalized around time, how time is connected to all of these. And so the opposite of that misunderstanding is time is your one precious life. Amen. Yeah. Time is your one precious life, and collaborating with time as a whole human being with needs. I can collaborate with time as a whole human being with needs. And so this tangibly looks like figuring out how much is enough. Money, time, success, work, in business, figuring out how much is enough is really important. I mean, it's important everywhere, but especially when you're working for yourself, there's like that whole like never enough. And when we figure out enough, we're able to then charge more accordingly in our practice and in our services and things. And the money is connected to time, but it's not time. Money is something that our society has like shaped itself around, and time is sort of like the medium to make money in our society. But at the end of the day, time is our life, our beating heart, and there is a big difference there. And I saw, do you have a doc with this info? I can maybe send you a doc. I don't know. Not like ready to send right now, but I can.
So I'm taking notes too, and I'll do a write-up of like the main points.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Time shame is the third one. This one is one that a lot of folks resonate with. I think that I resonate with all of these. So time shame is shrinking, that feeling of shrinking or smallness, powerlessness, or guilt about how we spend our time. And so this looks like people saying, I waste so much time, or I should have done something other than what I did, or I'm lazy, or I did nothing today. Those are four of the most common ways that we talk about time shame. And so the opposite of those things is I can feel free and unapologetic with how I want to spend my time, to feel expansive and to feel powerful and tap into the agency that we have around the choice around time. And this tangibly looks like recognizing the things that we do, because there's an unconscious need underneath. An example of this, recently I had a client who was like, I just drove around, like she was leaving the library or something and had to go home to get back to work or whatever. And she's like, I just drove around for an hour because I didn't want to go home. I wasted the day, a lot of, like the time shame messages that I just shared. And I was like, what did you need? And she was like, I just needed to not work. Like I felt burnt out. I felt like I just couldn't get more stuff done. And so then, the reframe there was really important, to recognize that you have needs. And when you put your needs first or prioritize them in some way, shape, or form, doesn't have to be first all day, every day, because obviously that's impossible. Well, I don't know. I'm going to challenge that thought. I think it is possible. Once there's like I don't know. I could go into a whole conversation about that, but after reframing it, forgiving yourself, self-forgiveness is a big one around time shame, like being able to let go of being perfect, having to be perfect around how we spend our time, and for believing into the misunderstanding that time is wastable. I don't believe that time is wasted, because there's always a need. There's always an unconscious need underneath everything that we do. So it's about discovering that need, forgiving ourselves, and doing better next time, doing more aligned better. So time shame, number 3. Number 4, toxic productivity. Of course, this one's connected to capitalism for sure, but I think that it's different. Toxic productivity for me is sort of like outsourcing your worth with doing or checking things off the list, or like just doing, like that busyness energy. And the drive to achieve more and outperform ourselves and others. It can show up as guilt or pressure, discontentment. And so the messaging around toxic productivity is, I need to get more done. I can't take time for me. The new year, new me energy coming up to the new year. Like the new year, new me, or I have to be someone else. I need to be better me. I don't like the version of me. And then the tendency to add more and more things to your plate is also a characteristic of toxic productivity. Okay, cool. Thanks, Louisa. So the opposite of all of those, of toxic productivity, is I can rest, have fun, and just be when I need it or when I'd like to. I can rest, have fun, and just be when I need it or when I'd like to. Or what's coming to mind now that's not in my notes is, I am worthy just as I am, right? That's a little bit deeper. I am worthy just as I am today. And this tangibly looks like a practice that I did for 2.5 years to really heal toxic productivity, was have done lists. And so at the end of the day, I started using my, I don't, if you're familiar with Magic of I had Magic of I planners before I became a traveling person. But I used my Magic of I planner to, instead of all the things that I had to do or wanted to do, I just intuitively started writing out all the things that I had done that day. And some days, like, and I captured it all. So it wasn't just like the items on my to-do list that I checked off, or like the work stuff. It was like, here's all the things that I did. I got out of bed, I showered, I watched 9 hours of Netflix, I cooked me some lunch and then I went back to bed. Like some days my have done list was like that. And so like valuing all the things, valuing rest, time off, fun, joy, everything as equally important as doing. That's what healing toxic productivity is about. And the fifth and final misunderstanding is called time disempowerment. Time disempowerment. And there's a couple of ways to think about this time disempowerment in my brain, but the most important one to share today is looking externally for solutions. So in the messaging around this, like what people are saying is, I can't get my shit together. I'll never figure it out. It as in like time or life or success or whatever. I'm missing something. This is supposed to be easy. And I'm so overwhelmed. It's sort of like that feeling of stuckness. Or like, you know, when you have a problem and you like have the solution on the tip of your tongue or something, or like it's like this gray foggy thing that you're like trying to like figure out or like piece together. That's kind of what I think about time disempowerment, is like looking at that as something that needs to like, it's something that's bad versus something that's a creative thing to experiment with and work with. So the opposite of this again is I can find or create my own rules, and there is a solution and it comes from me. I create the solution. And it tangibly looks like letting go of the paper planner, the morning routine, the softwares, the tools, the hacks that you've been trying and it doesn't work. Like, how many times have we tried time management hacks and stuff and we're like, they're gonna solve all my problems, and then it's like 2 weeks later I forgot that I even had it or used it or whatever, on to the next one. And so when you think about like how much life force you would save and use in an expression of your soul, your purpose, if you were able to find the solutions from internal, like tuning into what is truly working for you, what will truly work for you. So those are time disempowerment is number 5. Those are my 5 misconceptions, misunderstandings that we've been taught. Time scarcity, internalized capitalism, time shame, toxic productivity, and time disempowerment. And I found that, you know, focusing, again, going back to like the ripple effect, like I've found that healing these beliefs around time, productivity, rest, success, ourselves as human beings is essential, is like one of the most important, impactful places of making time regenerative and joyful, and being able to collaborate with time, you know, being able to work with time instead of try and master it and control it and bend it to our will. It's like, how do we be in relationship with this thing that is essentially us, essentially a part of us, an extension or an expression of who we are as people. So yeah, the question that I like to leave this with is like, what's possible when you have a regenerative and joyful relationship with time? What's possible for you? And depending obviously on how many people showed up, I was gonna say, like, how can we use the rest of our time together to make that more possible for you? How can we use the remainder part of our time together to do that?
Thanks, Becca. This is amazing. I took like pages of notes. It's really, really. Is this your own model that you've just like come up with? Really? It's really intelligent. It's like a mix of like CBT, but with somatic work. That's what it reminds
Yeah,
me of.
I've been doing somatic psychotherapy, I guess, for about 3 years now. So it definitely informs. Um, I feel like 12-step programs, uh, somatic psychotherapy, meditation and yoga-ish kind of, and engineering is like a combination of all.
And the anti-oppressive stance too.
Yeah, and activism, social justice. Yeah,
It's really beautiful.
yeah.
Um, yeah, do you want to share briefly a little bit more about the mutual aid fund? And then when I put this up on my website, I'll put a link for people to donate to. And I know Louisa wanted to donate as well. So
Yeah.
as donations come in, then I'll match them with Lloyd Collective
Cool.
donations as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So the mutual aid is called Mutual PTO. That's really cute. And being the biggest thing that I see is, keeping people from taking time off is money, right? Bills to pay, being able to take, having people to take care of things to do. And time off feels like a luxury. And I don't think that it should be. I think that time off to rest, to play, to have fun is literally the point of being alive on this planet. And I think that it's a systemic failure that isn't a human right, that isn't a given to anybody. Um, so yeah, the mutual aid, I plan to build it up as I go. I was called to this thing has been in my vision for 3 years now. And our conversation, Ariana, recently, you were like, who do you want to donate to? And I was like, do you know this mutual aid, like that, do you know an organization that does this? And you were like, no, do you want to start it? And I literally was like looking at that vision over and over again for a few weeks following up to our conversation. And so I was like, okay, I'm starting it. Like it was like the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's three key elements, right? Collect money from folks who believe in and want to directly support modern labor movements. Step two, redistribute to low income service industry workers. And I think self-employed folks will see how that goes, but redistribute that wealth. And then the third part is mental support. So offer training resources to folks to support them in resting better and having more time for themselves. So the people that donate and the people that are redistributed to get support from the mutual aid can both get resources around taking time off, not feeling guilty, how to use that day off in the best way to serve yourself. Like I have a bunch of different ideas. I'm thinking that maybe we'll do like a yearly challenge for a week off retreat at home to raise money for the mutual aid. So yeah, I'm excited. I got lots of ideas in the oven.
I think so many people would want to donate. I noticed Christy wrote that she'd love to donate too.
Yeah.
Do you put the link for it in the chat, and then I'll also save it and put on the website.
Yeah.
And then Christy, once you donate, if you want to let me know how much you donate, I'll match it. I love the idea. It's such a creative, fun idea.
Yeah. Yeah. My motto is going to be, every day you rest, you change the world.
That's
I think
beautiful.
it's so cute.
I want to make a tote bag with that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Merch one day.
It's a great idea. So then, Becca, will you explain how you work with people so people that are here or people that are watching this later know, like, okay, I want more of this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a one-on-one coaching practice. It is a either 6 or 12 coaching package structure. I think I'm gonna have a wait list. It's my first time that I've ever been like maxed out. So that's cool. Thanks. But yeah, we'll see. I'm figuring that out right now. But I also have a VIP day, so I have a 3 hour long call with like free stuff and post 1 month of coaching support on email or WhatsApp, where you would have a holistic digital calendar system created for you as a whole human being. So, you know, unique to your energy, your vibes, your whole life, your responsibilities, and we create a digital calendar for you. And the one-on-one coaching is more depth support, transformative, magical work. And then I also certify coaches in holistic time management, and they can go and support their clients around time as well. So I have those three main ways of working with me right now.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'll share your website with people as well.
Yeah, come on over, hang out with me.
Yeah, your social media too. On is Instagram your main platform?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have any questions because I feel like you laid it out so beautifully and like straightforward and clear.
Yeah, it's my engineering brain. It's funny, I was in a VIP day call recently, and my client was like all her priorities, all her responsibilities, and I just like organized it in like 5 seconds. She goes, "How did you do that?"
It's that engineering brain. Yeah.
It's something, yeah.
A huge
Really
asset.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christy, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. If you have any thoughts or anything that you wanted to share, I know you're not speaking, but I just wanted to offer that up as well.
I have a question on Christy's behalf,
Yeah.
but it's also on my behalf. I'm curious how you apply this work to parents, because when you're a parent, your time is not as much your own. Like you are often on someone else's clock based on when they're hungry, tired, need emotional comfort. Like, so everything, like it does feel like time is much more scarce, especially like time to like rest or feed yourself or see friends. So I'm curious how you've done your time work with parents.
Yeah, that's a great question. I also recently got the same question sort of like for someone that is, you know, in poverty and has like multiple jobs or something. And that affects, I think it sort of approaches both of those of like the enoughness, that like what is enough is an important question for people with additional external circumstances like being a parent. I am not a parent, I'll be the first to say. And you know, I often say don't take advice from someone that's not in the same boat as you. But I, you know, the difference behind what I do is I don't give advice, right? I'm a coach, so I help people bring out their unique stuff, and I kind of engineer it together. No matter what external circumstances, it's about recognizing what you do and recognizing where you can have your agency and recognizing that the power you do have, whether it's 100% of your time or 10% of your time, is like really focusing in on that amount. And that's sort of like what makes it regenerative and joyful, is that the time that you do have agency over, using that in the most aligned way, then diminishes the time scarcity feelings. Like, for example, when you're well rested and you had a really bomb day and like everything is going right and you got like a free coffee at the coffee shop, like think about how much better your day felt. Think about how much easier it was to get the things done. Like that is a really great example of, you know, the snowball effect of treating your 10% or your 20 or whatever percent of time that you do have agency and power over allows time to expand in all the other areas of your life. And you know, when we think of time scarcity, it's also because our needs aren't being met. Like we never have enough time because our souls aren't fulfilled. And so
Yeah.
that's the key to tap into there.
So being like super intentional with it, savoring it, and making sure that when you do have whatever amount of free time you end up getting, that it's stuff that like is re-energizing for you, stuff that feels
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and recognizing that that's not easy, right? Like when we have the evening, everyone's asleep, we're like, let's just veg out and, you know, scroll or watch Netflix. Like, I get it.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like the internal conversation and the internal muscle of listening to what you truly need. Obviously, you can watch Netflix. I watch hours and hours of Netflix every week. Like that, it's okay to veg out. That's part of our need. Like that is a human need. Um, so yeah, it's unique to everybody. And I work with parents on figuring out what is the percent that you are in agency and can, you know, control over in a not
Mhm.
control way, and being able to use that time in the most aligned way.
So really tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all that we have. I think so far we've raised 30, and then I'll see what Louisa wants to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do people
So
donate to after like the recordings or not really? Not usually.
donate button on that page as well.
Okay, cool. Yay, I'm excited.
Excited for
Thanks so
you.
much. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for presenting.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Christy. Thanks. Bye. Have a good night.